Ed, do you have anything else?
Well, the one question I was going to ask, because I did see several different points in time where people had their hands up, and I don't know if the people that were going to address the questions to have left, or if people had questions, because I believe there's a mic over there. No?
So one question, Teresa, thank you for the overview. I'm just curious, as we go into 2020 elections, will the voting cycle on bills, how will that work as you get closer to the election date?
The legislature for 2020 opens the first week of January, and they'll start having hearings, the House and Senate, probably second week in January. They'll cross the bills over probably the end of March. They will be finished by Memorial Day. As of right now, it looks like they'll be finished by Memorial Day. They may have a committee of conference or so, but because it's an election year, they want to get out and campaign. So I would say we won't see what we saw this year, which was the end of June when they got out, and then they didn't have had a veto and didn't have a budget, and it was a long summer. We were working through the summer and the fall. Next year, I would expect we all might get a vacation, and it'll be done by Memorial Day.
Don't say it out loud.
No, I did not say that, but it should be done by Memorial Day. And so hopefully that too, because it's a shorter period, we'll just kind of let things come.
We'll know candidate positions of legislation in support of those.
You will certainly know the positions of those who vote. You'll know Senator Felch's position on bills, because you can see on almost every bill how he votes. You will know whether Governor Sununu vetoes let's become law without his signature or signs. Councilor Valinsky, you're only going to know from him what he might vote on contracts. So he may be one that one needs to ask questions about what would of his position be family medical leave, which I did forget to mention. The governor came out yesterday with a family medical leave bill that's a Republican-sponsored bill, which is a credit against the BET. And as you know, the House and Senate passed a family medical leave bill that the governor felt was an income tax, so that was vetoed, and it did not go. Then they put it in the budget, and it didn't stay in the budget. So, but you will know pretty much where the governor and Senator Feltus are. You won't know, though, until September of 2020 who wins the Democratic primary.
Since we're going to ask one more question, Lindsay, you mentioned you're going to migrate all your bills and tax to your portal. We have members in our municipality that refuse to use computers, and they're filing returns. There'll be a paper option on this?
So with the meals and rentals tax, in order to retain the commission, if you meet certain thresholds, volume of tax or sales, you're required to file electronically. So right now that means either through our current e-file system or through our telefile option. RIMS will be replacing both our current e-file and our current telefile. If there are operators who feel like they have reasons that they should be able to file on paper and retain the commission, we have a process for them to write into the department for us to evaluate those on a case-by-case basis.
Jonathan?
This may have been a question for the people fast, but is there, if you are in a firm with a few people and you have a client that is going to give you access to their account, is that going to be access per person at the firm that they would have to get a letter for each person, or is there firm access that you can then bring to an individual preparer?
I believe it's going to be on a person-by-person basis for security reasons.
As a follow-up on that, are they actually going to snail mail the letters, or are they going to be sending emails if the client already has an account?
So if the client already has an account, it will show up in their account. There's a place to see letters, and so they'll be able to see that letter almost instantaneously within their account. Understanding that some people may not have a Granite Tax Connect account, but they may want you as their preparer to have a Granite Tax Connect account, those would go out via snail mail. And then the other thing too is, and Joel and I have had this discussion over the years, when you are able to have access to their account, you'll be able to see their letters as well. So those instances of that letter that we mailed out sitting on your client's table for some number of weeks and them finding it and walking in and showing it to you, you'll be able to see that letter in real time as well, so.
But
that should be
but
helpful.
only until you have access.
Only once you have
Right,
access,
so
correct.
The first one, you're gonna have to.
The first one, either they're going to have to already have a Granite Tax Connect account, or it will go in the mail and they'll need you to provide you with that letter
Help
ID.
manage that process.
And I just want to add really quickly, so we do have quarterly meetings with the DRA in association with the bar as well. So what's great about that is I know I go, Teresa goes, Joel goes, Lindsay, of course, is heading it. It's a great opportunity for these questions to come up, and we do have a really robust dialogue. So please do reach out to the society, and we'll try to put that information out there as well as what we're hearing, what's happening, how well it's going, because we all know it's going to go
well.
really well. But keep that in mind. If you do have any questions, please think of us, because we're happy to relay those questions and not inundate all the work that you're probably going to be busy doing. But and those are very helpful, I think, from everybody's perspective.
Can I ask Lindsay $1 million question?
No, that's,
179, where is that going to be within the budget as far as if we're adopting the 2018 IRS code? That's $1 million. Where will it be for New Hampshire?
the current decoupling from section 179 remains.
Okay.
So that is a good point. With IRC conformity, the existing provisions that we're currently decoupled from, those provisions remain when we sync to the code. One thing that I mentioned, but the Committee of Conference version of the budget, when we synced to the Tax Cut and Jobs Act, we decoupled from GILTI. The final budget that was passed, the decoupling from GILTI, the GILTI provision, was removed. So that's another area of not a lot of public hearings, the traditional public hearings that we're used to. That was a change from the Committee of Conference budget to the final budget that was passed in September.
Joel, the technology aspect of the CPA exam, is that being thought of as an application functionality or data security perspective, or is it both?
Now you're asking me to remember 3 days ago. It is a basic technology core skill, so there are, when Ed and I did the exercise, there's like 3 levels, and some of them really get it to advanced. And it's only the core that needs to stay within the exam, which would be mostly data, some security. So it's not, you don't have to have advanced skills in order to pass that section of it. Probably most students that come out of college learning technology are going to know enough to pass that part of it.
Basically, they were giving us the example of advanced tax would be outside of the core. Those of us with MSTs would probably need to know it, but those of us who are just CPAs, we don't need to know the advanced tax. And they were using the same example, advanced accounting and advanced IT, those would be outside of the core. It leads one to think maybe the exam may be a little bit less technical from what we passed.
Last question.
Ed, you had mentioned the .cpa domain.
Yes.
Any idea when that's happening?
I believe they are hoping to roll that out late 2020. And they're,
Another year.
yes, about this time next year, I think their expectation. Knowing the way they work, my guess is they are going to roll it out at the fall council meeting 2020. That would be my bet. But I'll keep you apprised of it.
And there'll be it's really kind of cool to listen to that. There'll be a period of time that your existing domain, you know what they figured out is most CPA firms have CPA somewhere in the domain name, right? So they're going to allow a certain period of time for people who own that sort of, your name, CPA.com, to stand up and say, yes, I want my name to be .cpa, so that you have that period of time to grab what you have right now for your IP and your domain, but just have a .cpa rather than CPA. So you're gonna wanna act pretty quick once it gets opened up to protect what you're currently using as a domain. And they'll let you know about that.
Thank you, everyone.